Yeah, Trump has come out and said that he is very much in favor of IVF. In fact, so much in favor, he wants your insurance company to pay for it. That doesn't make everybody happy just because that will be a very, very expensive proposal. But basically, looking at the bigger picture here, there's this whole like reproductive freedom, reproductive care issue, ties into abortion as well, right? The Democrats, Kamala Harris has really been pushing that, saying that Trump is anti-abortion, right? And trying to make that a big campaign issue.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by White House reporter Haisten Willis. Haisten, Vice President Kamala Harris has been running this joy campaign, the campaign of joy. It's very joyful and exuberant and all the rest of it. But there are some Republicans saying that that's a little tone deaf based on the sorts of things that are going on right now. What have they had to say?
Yeah, they've been trying to kind of pick at Harris ever since she became the nominee. Still not that long ago, July 21st. They've been trying to find different ways to sort of get at her campaign. We have, Comrade Kamala. We had Chameleon Kamala. So this is kind of the latest thing, is that this joy campaign, which they've been pushing very heavily. This is a campaign of joy and exuberance and that kind of thing. They're saying that word a lot. You're seeing it in news headlines and stuff like that. So they're just saying is, okay, is this really a time to be joyful, especially in the wake of the 6 hostages who were found dead underneath the tunnel in Gaza? So that's where Republicans are coming after her. Hey, is this really a time for joy? Can a joy campaign improve on the situation? Like, there's serious things happening in the world. The situation in Ukraine. How are we going to manage that? How are we going to get a ceasefire deal in Israel or in Gaza? Not a time for joy, right? They're also making an economic version of this, and they're saying no one's feeling joy when they're at the grocery store and they can't afford the food because inflation has been so high. So that's kind of like their latest stab at Harris.
No joy at the gas station and all.
Yeah, all that kind of
when
stuff.
You're trying to buy a house.
Yeah, and inflation has gone down. It was up all the way up at 9% in 2022. It's still at like 2.5. That's above the 2% target, but that's pretty close at this point. So they're really focusing now on like, okay, how much has it risen since January 2021 when Harris and President Biden took office? They're saying I think it's like 20%. It depends on which item you're talking about, but it's been a lot. It's been like 20% over that 4-year period. So they're still really pushing the inflation thing and the seriousness of things like Gaza, Ukraine. Again, saying this is not, joy is not going to be able to get these things fixed, right?
Sure. I mean, it's an interesting contrast because even back in 2016, Trump was known for the American carnage speech. He painted a pretty dire picture of the state of the country that he was going to have to come in and try to fix. But now he's running against originally the incumbent president, now his vice president. So he really wants to show that the state of the country is bad and needs to be improved, whereas they want to send a different kind of message.
For sure, and it's looking at it from the other way, I think that was what the Harris camp was thinking with the joy thing, right? Is that Trump is known for this more dark message of the country is failing. There's all these illegal immigrants surging into the country. So that was the contrast they were looking for. Oh, we're the optimistic campaign. We're the joyful campaign. So there's contrast they're trying to kind of create on both sides there. But from the Trump camp is saying joy is not going to lower the prices at the grocery store.
Morning in America, and joy comes in the morning, right?
Right.
So, former President Trump has this proposal on IVF, which is a fertility treatments that are controversial in some conservative circles. But there are other Republicans who are pretty happy that he's made this proposal. Talk a little bit about what Trump wants to do and what some Republicans, how they've reacted to it.
Yeah, Trump has come out and said that he is very much in favor of IVF. In fact, so much in favor, he wants your insurance company to pay for it. That doesn't make everybody happy just because that will be a very, very expensive proposal. But basically, looking at the bigger picture here, there's this whole like reproductive freedom, reproductive care issue, ties into abortion as well, right? The Democrats, Kamala Harris has really been pushing that, saying that Trump is anti-abortion, right? And trying to make that a big campaign issue. IVF ties into that. There was an Alabama State Supreme Court ruling that ruled that IVF, the embryos that are created in IVF are human beings, which made it basically harder to get IVF. I'm trying to explain this sort of quickly here.
Sure.
But Trump has said, he favors it. The Harris campaign is really saying, well, he still does not favor it, or you cannot trust him on this. He's still trying to curtail your rights to this type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting pivot because on the one hand, Trump is trying to undercut a Harris criticism of him that he's extreme on abortion-related issues, and he's trying to present himself as more of a moderate on those issues, and then saying Harris is extreme.
Right.
But also, even though some of the pro-life supporters don't like the destruction of embryos that's involved in the IVF procedure, he's trying to present this as sort of a pro-life thing because it makes babies and it makes families.
Yeah, that's where he's trying, and he's really kind of trying to thread a needle here, exactly where he's going to fit on either one of these issues, IVF or abortion. But yeah, with IVF, that's where he's trying to say, hey, we're Republicans, we're the pro-family, like you just said, pro-baby party. So this is how we stand on this. This is a pro-family, pro-baby position. That's why conservatives should support it, and most of them are. I know I saw a Tom Cotton interview he did a few days ago, and he said, as far as he knows, all Republicans are basically in favor of IVF treatment. So this is a non-issue, right? Even if Democrats are still trying to make it one.
Sure, and in the 2024 Republican platform, they express support for IVF in the same section of the platform that has the anti-abortion plank, the modified anti-abortion plank.
Right, the slightly less
Yeah.
modified threading the needle kind of position, exactly.
Thank you, Haisten. You could read Haisten and the rest of our politics team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.